Hi, this is Chris, Video Game Dust Leaves, and you're listening to the VGDS podcast with DanCavDragon,
Hello out there.
Bones06,
Yo, yo.
and guest gamers OAS,
Hey,
and Bargain Bin Hobo.
Just remember, things are never bad in the bargain bin. Actually, they are, and that's how we like it.
As per the norm, sleeve it or leave it. First title is Power Rangers Battle for the Grid on PlayStation 4. Bones, leave it or leave it.
Hell no. Sorry, bandana.
Bandana's gonna kill you.
I'm sorry.
You have shamed Zordon. You must die.
Dan.
he's already dead.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no, but I've never really played this game, but I have no idea if it's any good or not.
OAS.
I've actually heard good things about it, so I would sleeve it, but for the Xbox.
And Bargain Bin.
I would sleeve it for two reasons. One, to honor the memory of Jason David Frank, and because I genuinely do love this game. And if I'm lucky, I actually got to meet Aisha last year, and I might this year get to get a picture and her autograph too. So I'm gonna sleeve it. Now I'm gonna play as Jason, Tommy, and I forget the name of the Pink Ranger from Time Force, but they're my mains. It's a 3v3 game.
This actually has already been done. This 3D sleeve's been done of this. Bandana had me do one. So there is a 3D one out there. I don't know if he posted it. It might be actually in here posted on Discord. So
That looks like a lot of stuff to
Yeah, that looks
pop
like a
out
lot of
there.
work.
That's a complicated sleeve.
yeah, but it worked out. It came
You
out
could
good.
probably at least pop Chun-Li's boobs out, at least.
Next title, Arcadia 88. Dan?
Definitely sleeve this one. It's it's from Limited Rare Games.
Bones?
No.
It's a required taste, Bones.
The cover looks good, but okay, okay, let's go with this. If you 3D pop that one, I would take that because that cover's cool. But other than that, I'm gonna go with no.
Bargain Bin?
Actually, I don't know this game, but from the back, it actually looks pretty cool, so I'd sleeve it.
OAS.
I was gonna go with no, but then LRG was mentioned, so heck no.
Next title, Shadows of the Damned, PlayStation 3. Bones? What was that, Bones?
I was thinking, I'm looking at
okay,
it. I'm gonna go with the same deal. If it's 3D pop, because that's also another really cool cover, I would do it. Otherwise, no.
OAS?
I'm gonna go with yes. Cover looks kind of neat. But I think I'd have to go with it. If it's 3D pop, I think it look pretty cool.
Bargain Bin?
Actually, would sleeve it because the game's actually pretty fun. Essentially, it's like the play style of Resident Evil 4 with the style of humor of, like, say, Family Guy. Like, the gun you're holding on the cover is alive. His name is Johnson, and the gun is called a boner. And then you get upgraded. Like, wow, that's one big boner. It's actually really.
I would have never known this was like humorous.
Yeah,
by
it's
the
actually
cover, you can't tell that.
Yeah, you can't really tell from the cover. It's actually very raunchy and inappropriate. And but I would just say, if you're into that style of humor and that style of game, this is actually a hidden gem. It's really good.
Dan?
Yeah, I agree. This is one of the kind of cooler, quirkier games. It's got kind of like an Evil Dead humor type of thing to it. So, yeah, this is a little bit unusual of a game, and not a bad 3D pop out there if you do it. So I would probably sleeve this.
All right, last one, Quantum Theory, PlayStation 3. OAS?
I don't know anything about this game, and at the moment, don't really care to. So no, burn it.
Bones?
No, not for me.
Bargain Bin?
From what I've not played this, but from what I understand, they try to cash in on the gritty alien war thing of Gears of War. I might try it, but I don't know if I'd sleeve it.
And Dan?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with this game, so I would not sleeve it right now, but I'm going to look it up and see if it's interesting or not.
Another title that Dan didn't know about.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it.
Next segment, guess that box art. Anyone have
Captain Planet.
Yep. And the Avengers.
Planeteers, not the Avengers.
Right.
He's not
Captain
cool enough to be an Avenger.
Avengers.
Captain Planet and the Planeteers for what console?
NES.
Yeah, you got it.
NES.
Next one.
I've seen that before, but
Yeah,
I
that
don't
looks
know what it is.
familiar. And
I'm gonna say it's Popeye gone horribly wrong.
It's not Circus something, is it?
Yeah, actually it is. Circus what?
oh,
I can't think of it.
Panic?
Circus Caper.
Yep, you got it.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. What system is that?
NES.
NES.
What's that Tim word though? I don't know where that's from. What's
God
that?
damn it, Tim.
Yeah, what's that supposed to be?
I don't know actually. I forget exactly what the rest of that box art is. I did it like early in the morning. But I'll let you know as soon as we're done.
Sounds good.
All right, Bones.
Okay, folks, let's move on to logo sleeve of the month. This month we have the one and only Atari Creeps 2023 Alzheimer's Walk dust sleeve. Chris, this has proceeds and stuff that goes directly towards the walk, right? Is that what he
Yeah,
does?
it goes to the Alzheimer's Walk that he does. So he's gathering donations, and anything that is made for this will go directly to that. So I would charge $6 for this, but the whole $6 goes to the donation for the walk.
Cool. So if anybody's interested in picking one of these up and helping out for the donation of the charity, just hit Chris up and he will accommodate.
As to what I put in it, hear me out on this one, okay? So I would put Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde on the NES in there, but let me explain myself. It's basically a glorified walking simulator, and for all we know, he could have Alzheimer's at some point.
I'd put Bill and Ted's in there. Excellent Adventure.
Yeah, I can see that. Tie-dye.
Movie or
Well, the last time I played it, I walked around aimlessly, so yeah, I'm thinking that might work quite well.
yeah. It has good music though.
Any other suggestions to put in the sleeve? It doesn't have to necessarily be NES.
Yeah, I was gonna say something Atari for Atari Creeps, but
Yeah.
I would actually put a musical the soundtrack of whatever I would walk 500 miles on there.
Put King Kong in there for him,
Which one?
for Atari.
Oh.
Don't even look like King Kong.
I never heard of that actually.
All right, Dan.
all right. Franchise of the month. I'm not going with a specific franchise this podcast because we're talking about current topics, and the first topic is going to be about the current generation of video games and the current console wars, and so this franchise is kind of leading to that. And so yeah, sorry about this weird background. It's supposed to be a white background, but I have kind of like a quiz, I guess. The first question is who's winning the current generation console wars? And at the left there I have 6 numbers, in descending order, and trying to match up which system has sold that many units thus far. Trying to put them in order, I guess. So does anybody want to take a stab at that?
I think I know the
Just-
first one.
I'm gonna say the Switch is the first one.
No, I think it's the Wii.
No, I think the Switch is too.
Switch.
Because I think the Switch actually surpassed the Wii finally.
Yeah, I think it did. Yeah.
Yeah, so we could just knock them out in order, I guess. So yes, the best-selling console is the Switch.
Well, then the Wii has to be next.
Any other guesses, or
It's not the
anybody
Wii.
agree or disagree?
Yeah, I could go with the Wii.
Yeah. Also, we.
Actually, the PS4 is at 117 million
Oh wow.
units sold.
Who's the next
Yeah,
one?
but the funny thing though is these numbers are so close. Like you're only talking 16 million units
Yeah.
on the gap there.
Yeah,
So it's not like it's like a drastic amount that they're surpassing each other.
Yeah, they're all selling very well.
Yeah.
Well, all we got left now is 2 Xboxes and a PS5. So,
Well, so third at 100 million. Who?
Yeah,
You think it's the Wii?
I'm assuming that's the Wii.
got to be the Wii. That has to be the Wii.
Yeah, that. You guys are correct. That's.
Whee! I love that game.
All right, so now you got the 2 Xboxes and the PS5, so 51 million
Xbox
units.
One, PS5.
Yeah. That's what I would go with.
Yeah, Xbox One, PS5, Xbox Series X.
Yes, that's correct.
Yay!
We are so smart.
I did something good today. I can go to bed happy now.
So the Series X sold the less. Is that what you're saying?
Series X is the least. Between the two, the current generation, between Switch and PS5 and Series X, Switch is definitely way out in the lead. But yeah, but between the PS5 and Series X, PS5.
See, I would have thought the PS5 would have been the least of
The only reason why it hasn't is because of limited supply. They've been having trouble keeping the console in stock until recently. Now you can finally start. This is 2 years later. You can finally start finding it around.
Yeah.
But
that's why I would assume that the PlayStation 5 would be the lower of the two, the Xbox X and PlayStation 5.
I actually have every single one of these.
So it's
that's
your
good.
fault then, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I stole all of them, and you will never find any of them. So they're mine, and I'm going to paint mustaches on all of them.
I didn't include it because it's kind of old, but the Nintendo DS is actually second on this list. It's
Wow.
yes.
Well, I'm not surprised at that. DS is like a major seller back then.
Yeah.
Not 3DS, that normal DS.
Yeah, regular DS.
Wow.
They had a ton of games come out for that.
Yeah, it really did. Oh, holy crap.
I was surprised that the handheld got, second on the list. But yeah, so keep that in mind as we talk about. Anyways, we go into the current topics. And then the second question, you see the pie chart there, physical box games, and we're not talking about like phones and iTunes or anything like that, but just strictly console digital downloads versus physical box games. What do you think? This is through December of last year. What?
28 physical, 72 digital.
Correct.
And I would say that as well, largely due to the pandemic.
Yep.
28 physical, 72 digital.
You monsters.
Everybody agree?
The way
Who
it's
cares
been
about being sick?
more digital, so.
That's you guys are all correct. Yes, 72% of
Yay.
digital sales are digital, and it seems to be increasing.
I'm abandoning video gaming now. I never want to play video games again. This is
Oh, well, you
heartbreaking.
can abandon the current gen and keep the retro.
You know what? That's a better idea. I'll do that.
Yeah, it sounds like a plan, right?
Yeah, sounds like a very good plan.
Where you could actually buy all the games on the physical medium.
Because the digital didn't exist yet.
Stupid digital.
Goodbye, physical games.
God damn it.
Hello, more retro collecting. Hello, more retro
Yay.
collecting.
Save more for us.
Golf clap for that.
Do those sounds show up in the recording?
Yes, they do.
Fun. You need to add some custom ones.
Yeah, it's gonna happen eventually. Plan
And
on
one of them needs to be Luke Skywalker yelling, "No!"
it.
Vader going, Luke, who's your daddy?
Not you.
All right, so that's it for franchise of the month. That leads into our topic. So go ahead, Chris.
Alrighty. Obviously, Dan's already mentioned it. the topic of today's podcast is the current situation of, I guess, gaming in general and things that are related to gaming. Again, brought to you by Dan.
Yep. So go ahead.
All right. So the first related topic to this, or question, I should say, what is the future of the current generation of console gaming? And Dan will go through these first every time, so that way you guys kind of have a gist on how to answer, because he just has like the way he has it laid out.
Kind of like ideas and
Yeah,
thoughts. It's not
right.
really a question.
So A is PS5, PSVR 2 release. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, so for this one, we know from the previous segment that PS5 is starting to take off and outpacing Xbox. Whether or not it'll ever catch up to Switch remains to be seen. But they recently had their PlayStation Showcase, which will be touched on later. But one of the biggest, or I guess one of the biggest pieces of news that they mentioned was that the PSVR 2, will be a big part of their future lineup, and so it has been released already, and they said it was selling really well, better than expected. So I'm just curious. Some of us here have PSVR. Some of us have played it. Curious of if VR2 is of interest to anybody, or and if anybody plans on picking it up. I guess we'll start with Bones because I know he has PSVR.
Well, really, when it comes down to it, it's too much of a novelty. And with the other options that are out there nowadays, you don't need a console to do virtual reality, where with this, you need a PlayStation 5 as well. And it's not cheap. I think it's still just going to run the same course that the PS4 one did, where it literally is just a novelty. I mean, nobody really wants to play games constantly in VR. It's not the way we game constantly. Yeah, it's fun to play once in a while, but I wouldn't want to play that shit every day. Like if Zelda was in a VR, I wouldn't want to do that. Like I couldn't dedicate my time to it and want to stand there or even sit sometimes. It just isn't really what I think is going to be the future of gaming. I really don't.
So do you see yourself picking one up ever?
Well, that's where I'm a little torn. I feel like I may move into PC before I move into anything for PS5 or the newer Xbox. But they may come out with the Forest on it, and then I might want to go for that because that just really intrigues me. Now, granted, that's a PC game, so if I get it on PC, it still have the option, but it has it on PlayStation VR, and if that's the case, then it's very enticing. But I can't bring myself to pay the prices for something I know that's just going to sit there. Because I'm going to be honest, I had a hell of a run with my PS4 one, but once that thrill of playing it was done, it's just like the Power Glove back in the day when you were a kid and you played it for like 2 weeks, and then you were like, yeah, I had my fill of this. Even though the PlayStation VR was good and the Power Glove sucked, it's still the same concept. Yeah, the novelty is over with it. I don't really get that much enjoyment out of it. But will I pick one up one day? I'm a collector, so if the price is right, sure.
So 2 upgrades of the PSVR 2 supposedly that they made is obviously better graphics or sharper graphics or whatever, and 2 less wires. It's some of the more wireless. It's more wireless. So, were either of those 2 a big issue for you with the PSVR one?
Stepping on the wire, yes. I'm a little out of this world when playing the PlayStation VR. I am all over the place. I'm constantly walking out of the camera zone because I'm not using the joystick to turn. I'm literally turning. You can get away with doing that, but you really run the risk of destroying the wire that connects the headset directly to the unit. And I was lucky I didn't do it, but you're more, I would say, being better off sitting down. And I get it, some games you can't, but I definitely was very, very cautious with that.
All right. How about Oaz or Bargaman? Have either of you ever tried the VR?
You want to go first, Oaz, or?
Interested in it.
No interest in it? And Bargaman?
Well, for me, a big obstacle to VR is because I wear glasses. I literally can't see without them, and I've only ever had one instance of wearing a VR headset that fit comfortably over my glasses. Now, I only wore it for like not even a minute before I took it off because I just want to see if it even fit. So I don't know if it would be difficult to wear for long periods of time with the glasses. And I'm kind of agree with Bones. It's really more of a fad thing. And once the novelty wore off, what reason do you have to plug it back in? And I, you know, I think the most I would do if I did it at all was to watch my shows like Netflix or Disney Plus on VR, and even that wouldn't last too long. Like I got a couple, like early this year, late last year, I remember I got some Pulse 3D PS5 headphones. Now I don't get to use them often because I need to be able to hear if people need me. But like playing Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart with those was really cool. But I don't see them enhancing every single game ever. But short answer, I don't plan to pick one up. And if someone gave it to me, it would just probably just sit on a shelf. I just don't really see myself getting in with that. Glasses notwithstanding, we'll just say.
I'm curious. You mentioned you would watch TV shows, and what do you think? What advantage would that have, seeing it in a VR headset versus on your TV?
I don't actually see the TV. I just see the show.
Okay, it's more immersive.
And it's more like, and then again, I would get bored of that eventually, and just go back to the way I usually would do it anyway.
Yeah, I never tried that. I saw it on Netflix, and I was like, you know what, that might be interesting. And then in the process of kind of looking at it, I'm like, yeah, I don't feel like wearing my headset to watch it.
Yeah, I'm intrigued now. I should try that, watching TV through the VR headset and see if it
enhances the show.
I would think you would still need a certain show shot from like a first-person perspective to really make a difference there, right?
There's like only one movie I know of that does that, Hardcore Harry, where like the entire movie was from the first-person perspective.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
That might be cool. But
there's limited stuff that they had on like Netflix that you could click on that would be through the actual headset, or even doesn't YouTube do it too? Can't you go on YouTube and there's a VR spot?
That wouldn't surprise me. Probably, yeah.
It would not surprise me either. But again, lack of VR headset kills that dream if I ever had it.
All right. Well, you guys are giving me something else to reason to dust off my PSVR.
Jesus.
I just know.
That just says everything. That just says everything. Let me dust off my PSVR.
Exactly. I haven't turned it off for more than a year, I think. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to charge it then.
And finally, Chris, I know you've played PSVR, so anything about a VR2 interests you, or you ever see yourself getting something like that? Like, would you get a PSVR2, skip the VR one and just go to the VR2 maybe?
No, I wouldn't skip the VR. I would get the first one, definitely first. But I dabbled with. I went to Bones' house and played VR, and it's quite the experience. I'm not gonna lie. It feels like you're in the game. But like he said, it kind of like, I would assume that after a while it would just wear off. But on the other hand, if they keep producing games for it and it's games that interest you to play in VR, then it would keep the buzz going. But I don't know how often they come out with games anymore for VR.
I only ever owned two PSVR games. One you couldn't even play anymore because the servers were dead.
I know Bones has like a ton of VR games. Well,
yeah, I bought a bunch of them. Dude, it's almost all horror games though. Like for the most part, like that's what everything is. It's all horror games. And don't get me wrong, they're great, but that's what mainly the library is.
Yeah, then a lot of it's digital only, and
yeah.
And then for PSVR 2, they are showing up in the the PlayStation store, but it's just a handful right now.
Yeah.
But like Resident Evil Village, that's a PSVR 2 game, supported game, so that's intriguing because they did do a good job with Resident Evil 7 or for the last PSVR.
Yeah, so you can spank Lady D in 3D basically.
All right.
The next section, B. New Switch console in the works.
Yeah, so they announced that they are finally working on a new Switch. So, you saw the numbers that it's, the best-selling console. Zelda, we'll talk about next, but that's one of the biggest, hottest selling games. So my question is, do you think it's time to upgrade the Switch? Do you feel like we need a new Switch already? We're overdue for this. Anybody, feel free to jump.
I've been hearing on the grapevine for years, oh, Switch Pro in the market, and now it seems it's finally happening. But I remember how everyone thought the Switch OLED was the new Switch. I'm like, no, just an updated Switch. But honestly, if it happens, it's probably gonna be a bit before I jump to it, and it dang well better be backwards compatible with all the games.
Well, I think that they're jumping the gun too quick. They just released Zelda. They're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna release a system right away. They're gonna let Zelda fly for a while before they
gonna
say.
fly quite a ways.
What'd you say, OWAS?
I said they're gonna let Zelda milk everybody.
Exactly. They're gonna milk it a while before they decide. Okay, let's announce that we're actually coming out with this new Switch, if you want to call it a Switch. Who knows what they're gonna call it?
It's like this. They're gonna milk it like the prize cow next to the cereal factory.
But I think what I would really like is a completely consoleized version. You've got the Switch Lite, so you can take it on the go, and that's all you can do with it. I want one that you can't do anything but sit in front of a TV and play it.
Wow.
I mean, technically, the Switch you can do that. The Switch you can dock it. Right.
You can dock it, but it's not a console. It's a hybrid. I want one that's just a console that you cannot. You don't have to dock it. You get in and you're done.
It's literally in the name. You switch from TV to handheld. What's the point?
It's still a console though. Like, you got it docked. If you got it docked, it's a console.
The controller.
It's a hybrid console. I just want a console that you can set it there. You don't have to worry about somebody knocking it off, anything like that. Any of the pins getting busted because someone's doing something stupid when they undock it and dock it.
Picky.
But they could release it. They could release a budget console, $50, $100.
Yeah, okay. They're never gonna do that.
They're not. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, sadly, they do not have a handheld anymore. That is their handheld and home console. So I don't see them really being able to do much except for improve what they already have.
I mean,
for the next
console. Like you said, if it was console only, right? Which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. But they're not going to sell it for $50 or $100.
That's not.
But they won't.
Yeah, but
it's
A
Nintendo.
lot of money they could save in the miniaturization of parts and stuff. Now, I don't think they'd do it, but that's what I want. I would love that.
Yeah, and I want $1 million. That ain't happening either.
But you want a consoleized Switch, or you want a new system?
No, he wants a new system, right?
I would be fine with either if they took the current Switch and just made a console version of it.
I feel like you could do that really cheap if they really wanted to. They could probably do that.
They could release that really quick and be like, "Hey, it's a mini Switch."
Just get rid of the screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the great for me though is like the controllers are way too small. I don't like the Switch controllers.
Yep. I don't either, and so I don't.
I mean, I know they got the Pro controller that you can get, but like the Switch controllers suck.
I use a Pro controller, and I mean, I could probably count the times I've used it undocked on one hand. I don't like it like that. The Joy-Cons are absolute garbage.
Yeah, they are.
I use a Pro controller, or whatever they're called, and it's wired.
Right.
So mine's not. In front of it.
That is one of the questions about this new console. Is it going to be more of a hardware-heavy console to compete with PS5, Xbox, or is it going to, go the way of the current what's successful for them?
Nintendo is not a hardware company.
Yeah,
they're a family-oriented console company, or handheld, whatever you want to call them.
I think their track record pretty much shows outside of the Wii U and the GameCube. It seems like every other one. But you don't have to have this super high-end hardware.
Nope. You just have to have the name.
Yeah.
You have to have good games. And, I mean, it's hard to say.
Well, that's what I mean. You have to have the name. Mario, Zelda, Metroid. Kirby.
Yep.
Donkey Kong. Like, you have to have the names.
And then for PlayStation, you got Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man. Xbox, you have Halo, and that's it.
Yeah, Xbox. I don't know what's going on with them. They don't even come out with any, like... Did they come anything with that besides... Did they come out with Halo? Yeah, they came out with Halo, so, like, what...
Yeah.
That's it, right?
Dark game in the works.
Halo
They have no other exclusives right now besides that, right?
Well, there's the Rareware stuff. Apparently, there's a new Perfect Dark game in development.
And there's the space game.
Yeah, there's some new space game they're
from
coming out with.
Bethesda.
Space Invaders.
2023.
All right, want to just move on?
Yeah.
All right, see Xbox latest position.
So you guys already touched on some of this. This was actually pretty big news. I think Phil Spencer, the CEO or head of Microsoft's Xbox Studios, pretty much raised the white flag and said publicly recently and said, we lost this current generation of console wars. We did not spend enough time trying to market or target the Xbox Series X properly. We're definitely losing, and we've lost to PlayStation 5.
This comes to their exclusiveness now.
So so what they're trying to spin is that whole Game Pass idea. Hey, we don't have killer games, but we're gonna give you this ecosystem where you're gonna stream games and you have this whole library. It's gonna be backward compatible to Xbox, the original Xbox, and you can just play all the games. So that's like a streaming platform almost. That's where they think they can make their market in the market. So
yeah, but what really gets me is that they just bought didn't they just buy 2 producers or something like that?
Like Bethesda, they bought Bethesda.
Yeah.
And they're working on Activision Blizzard, which means if they get Activision
Right.
Blizzard, they have WoW.
That's what I'm saying though. Like they bought the one for sure, and they haven't produced anything. Why? They could have so many exclusive rights right now.
And also, you can still get Doom Eternal and all that on PS4, PS5, and Switch.
But I think one of the things they did was say, we're not removing any of these games from any of these consoles or any of these, any announced games. We're not going to limit it to.
Right. Well, once they get to the point where that is expired, they're gonna.
Well, when that gets expired, and if they get Activision Blizzard, they're going to be like, if you want to play any of these games, you have to be on our ecosystem.
You have to have an Xbox.
No, I don't think they care if you have an Xbox. The console is not their end goal. It's that media center where, hey, you can play our games, you can stream our games to your PlayStation, to your Nintendo console, to your cell phone, to your TV, and it's already on TVs. I think there's some Samsung TVs that you can stream games from Game Pass to and play.
Wow.
They're playing a totally different game. And so they're not in the console market right now. They're in the entertainment market. And so I think they're going in a different direction. Whether or not it'll pay off remains to be seen.
I don't know. I think that's too much. They need to just stick with the consoles.
Yeah.
They want you to play their games, and they don't care what system you play it on.
That's stupid.
I think that's going to go back
That's
to
going to bite them in the ass. Yep.
Yeah.
The thing is, most companies don't make money off the consoles. They make it off the games.
Yeah, they were saying they lost money. They're losing money in Series X, just based on
But again, I'm coming back to the point. They have no exclusive titles on their console.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah, you can get Halo on PC now.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna actually limit it.
And to bring people in, how do you bring people in that are PlayStation users? Okay, only offer this game on this console and nowhere else.
Yeah, like that's
that
what
will
got
pull
me to get a
people in.
PS5 to get ripped apart. That's what got me to get a PS5.
It's gonna get there though.
Just like God of War. God of War, you can only play on PlayStation.
Yeah.
You want to play?
Except
You
now
want to play
you can
God
it
of
on
War?
Steam, though.
Yep. But the thing is, I don't think they're seeing the PC market as the same thing as the consoles. And if Xbox's idea is play our games, we don't care how, then PC is no different to them than any other, physical box sitting next to your machine or to a screen, or if it's just on the screen. I think they're just looking at.
And then you got to also see that Xbox is a Microsoft company, so that says a lot.
Subscription service.
Screw that. Screw that subscription service.
Yeah, we already have enough as is. We don't need more.
So do none of you guys have Game Pass?
Nope.
Nope. I have Games of Gold, and I'm not sure I'm going to keep that much longer either.
I don't have Game Pass. I've thought about it several times, but
it just doesn't pique my interest enough to get it.
Are internet connections good enough for that these days? I mean, I assume they are, but I just never.
Yeah.
I think it just depends on where you're at and what.
No lag or anything like that.
It depends, I think, on everything.
Now and then. I mean, I actually streamed a game to my phone when they first announced it, and it was kind of laggy, and it wasn't a super graphic intensive game. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I haven't gone back to it after like 5 minutes because
See how cool that was?
I don't.
That was a cool 5 minutes of your life.
Like that on the go. I don't want to. That's not. I'm not the.
That's what I'm saying. Like in general, I don't think too many people are gonna be like, hold up, let me whip my phone out and play this game.
But what if you could whip out your Switch and do it?
What if you
I'm
could
not.
accidentally
I'm like
whip
you.
out
I like
something
my
else
Switch
and get
docked.
arrested?
I'm like you. I like my Switch docked.
I do admit I do like
Most
my Switch
people
dock,
don't.
but when I go for a long car ride, it's nice to have too. When I'm not driving, that is.
So, I guess this is transition to the next question. The Sony
Right.
PlayStation Showcase that they just had. One of the biggest announcements was there's a new handheld in the works.
Oh
from
my
Sony.
god, that's trash.
And then it's called Project Q, which is a handheld device, but it's not an independent gaming console. It's merely a screen with a controller attached that you use to stream off your PS5. So it requires you to have the PS5, but you can stream on the go. So basically, it's a portable PS5.
What in the hell?
You.
What in the hell is
Game Pass on your phone.
what in the hell is Sony thinking?
Well, I feel like their idea is like so. Switch is you can take the Switch on the go, so that sold really well. Then the Steam did it with the Steam Deck, and I think Xbox did it too with that Logitech whatever thing. So I think this is.
So let's just
Sony.
dive in the pool with everybody else.
Yeah, let's just ride Nintendo's coattails like everybody else
Stupid.
is. And
They're
surprised
stupid.
Nintendo can still walk
Sorry.
without people riding their coattails.
Yeah, but you can't go anywhere with this. You have to stay near the console, don't you?
Wait, what? What's the point then?
Yeah, I thought you can't, like, it's not wireless. Like, yeah, you can use it in your house, but I thought it has a range and you can't leave.
Is that right? That sounds like Wii U.
Yeah.
That's why I said the Wii U, because this reminds me of the Wii U.
Yeah, that's I barely the most use my Wii U even gets is just to play the Wii games now.
I mean, I could be wrong. I didn't even catch all of the.
No, I refuse to even
showcase.
watch any
I
of
didn't
that
even
stuff.
watch them either, so this is news to me
Yeah.
too.
I refuse to watch something about a crap handheld.
Yeah.
Well, you
no
could-
crap, yeah.
You can also use it as a like a movie streaming device and all that kind of stuff. You know.
But I have
Why do
phone
I need that when I
already.
have a
Yeah,
phone and a
Who has
TV?
phone?
Yep, you have a phone, and if you're at home, why aren't you gonna be?
Why aren't you on your TV? Like, if you're gonna watch something,
Like, we're seriously at like a stale spot in gaming. Like, it's just this flat line. It's not dead, but it's a flat
Yep.
line. Nothing.
you know what they really need to
great.
concentrate on? They need to concentrate on coming out with good games.
Yeah.
Period.
That's the
I don't give a
obvious
shit
thing,
about
right?
the console. I don't care about the damn handheld. They need to come out with games that are worth playing.
Yeah. Then that's gonna bring people in the masses.
But instead, they come out with re-releasing something, remastering something. How about we make a new original game?
Or just remaster a game that's never been remastered, like Medieval 2. We need
Nah, we need to get rid of remastering games. Just get rid of it. It's pointless.
Just make the old stuff playable on the new stuff, so you don't have to worry about having to remaster.
Right.
That's a good point. Let's do that
Backwards
instead. Good idea.
compatibility. Backwards
Good idea.
compatibility. But
But
Let's do it.
that's why this generation is like the most pointless generation. There's nothing that's been like, ooh, I've got to get.
no, it's because they're remastering every fucking thing. Like,
I think one of the problems is that consoles, the technology is so great now. It takes so much work, so much effort, so many people to make a good game.
I don't want to hear that, Dan.
Well, then,
I don't want to hear that.
Then they'll flop. You know, people are going to complain about it.
I don't
and
want to
say,
hear that though. That's not
broken.
an excuse.
Shut up, Dan.
That's
you lose.
that's
Come
not
on.
that's not an excuse to for them to be lazy and not produce a new game.
I just think the bar is really high.
Just all right. Get this, Dan. How much money do you put into games in a year? Exactly.
say, but yeah.
Exactly. My point in a nutshell. How much money do you put into games?
A
And
lot.
you mean to tell me they can't afford to take a dive every once in a while? Get the hell out of here. The
Yeah,
gaming
you're
market
banned
makes
from the
way
podcast.
the gaming market makes way too much money for them not to be like, all right, let's try this new game. We'll see how it does with the audience. If they take a fucking fall, oh well.
Do you think there's enough talent out there though to like make?
Why isn't there?
I don't know.
They got all these
There's plenty of
animators.
talent out there.
There's plenty of people out there willing to make games, man.
Animators, actors, programmers, just go find them. It probably can find them if you look hard enough.
And there's people passionate enough about gaming that are more than willing to step in and make a game. They just don't have the right connections sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Look at all these indie developers.
Look at all these like fan game creators.
Yep.
They're willing to take the time and make it and try to, put something into the market. You support a lot of them, Dan.
Yeah, but those are all retro, like cheaper to produce. Like doesn't need expensive hardware type games.
Explain Hat in Time then.
I don't think I played that.
I mean, regardless, it's just like in general, there's no reason why they can't make a new game, like instead of rehashing like stuff that came out in the '90s.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, like we're saying, they just need to make good games. The graphics and the thing that takes a lot of time and a lot of power is making it super shiny and the ray tracing and lens flare and all that crap that doesn't really matter. Because towards the end of the 360 and the PS3 life cycle, those games looked great. Destiny from the 360 to the Xbox One, there was a bump in fidelity and whatnot, but it wasn't needed. It looked really, really good on the 360. Yeah, it looked a little bit better on the Xbox One, but it also required, I think, 2.5 times the space. It wasn't needed.
And then you got the other issue of porting games from one console to the next, which I think is a garbage move too. That's just a money grab. Just like they, from Wii U to the Switch, you know what I mean? They ported games.
Oh yeah.
So
just Nintendo making money back on.
Right. It's just a money grab.
Because they did a really bad job of showing off what the Wii U was.
It's unfortunate too, because I thought the Wii U was actually a pretty good console.
The Wii U was great.
I like the Wii U. But like I said, I mostly just play it as a Wii as just a Wii right now. But who knows? Maybe I'll use that gamepad more later. I think the last time I actively used the Wii U gamepad was like my birthday, and my family and I were playing Game and Wario, and that was the most use my Wii U has gotten.
Were you playing Sketch?
No, we launched the Franks, and we got the level Tippy Towers, and we all tuned out. My mom said it should be called Tipsy Towers.
But both of those, I mean, WarioWare and those two games, Sketch and just flicking the guys, are great. You can have so much fun with just those, and then you throw in Nintendo Land.
Yeah,
I haven't played that. I haven't played it much though.
Oh, dude, Nintendo Land.
There was something else that incorporated the gamepad pretty well, and I just can't remember the name of the game.
Zombie U did a lot of clever stuff with it.
I remember that. Yeah, I did remember that.
Batman Arkham Asylum. There were several games that made use of the gamepad.
Yeah, I remember this one. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, you're good.
So like it was back on Game Wario though. One of those like dancing pirates. Basically, you have the gamepad and it'll tell you left. So you move the gamepad, like turn your body left to block the shot. And then after a while, at the end of that, it makes you dance with the Wii U gamepad, and you look completely stupid doing it because like you're like bending over and like pushing the thing down and picking it back up rhythmically. Yeah. But that's WarioWare, so of course they're gonna do that.
Yeah.
Did we go over E, Dan? That was E, right?
So the next question is, given the what's going on with physical gaming? So like, back in the day, I'm a big fan of limited run games and all that, and I used to get really amped up when they would have a release, and they would have a limited print run of 2,000 copies, and you would time it so you would get there right when the clock turns 10 and buy it and hurry up before it sells out. But that doesn't really ever happen anymore. Like there's a lot of companies out there with like saying this is limited, only 2,000 copies. Then they won't sell. They'll like sit there for months. You could just go in any time and still buy. So my question is, that seems to be really a stagnant model now. And why is this? Why are people not buying games? Are they tired of this idea that games are crappy? There's too many people competing, or saturating the market, or are people just not buying physical games anymore? So that's my big question.
So I think part of the whole there's twofold on why the limited game thing is kind of failing. One is the scalpers. They will buy the game and then they'll sell like 5 times as much as it's actually worth. and then people panic and fall for it because they can't find anywhere else. I almost did that for a Switch. Thankfully, I managed to stop myself. And also, I think it's like I think for physical gaming as a whole, kind of took a hit because of the pandemic. You couldn't even go to the store to buy the games anymore. So now they're digitally. You don't have to leave the house to get the new games. And I have a story about that. So it was 2020, like right as the COVID was really hitting hard, and school hadn't been closed yet, but I was informed that one of my classmates had tested positive for it, and I always sat with her, and I was stupid, and I announced that at work where I work with kids, promptly kicked out, and wasn't allowed to come back in for a while. So what did I do? I bought Shovel Knight digitally, and I wound up loving it. So I could kind of see how, during when we couldn't go to the store, we couldn't go wherever, digital gaming made a point. But I think people kind of like the convenience of just, why would I buy this expensive limited run game when I could just buy it cheaper digitally? I did that with River City Girls, I'll admit. I just think that there's a convenience aspect and it's easier to find digitally aspect.
I think there was also, especially with limited run games, because there's games like premium edition games that I don't think they do limited edition, but they'll sit there and they'll print more as long as people are buying them. And limited run, now you might buy a game now and you might be lucky if you get it next year. And if that happens, it's like, well, how likely are you to continue to do that when you've got 2 or 3 games in the backlog waiting to be shipped to you? It's like, why should I give them my money for a year when I'm not going to get the game for over a year? It's, I'd say it's bad business practice.
Well, luckily I never got on that train and went down that rabbit hole.
Me neither.
Like physical gaming in general is just getting tougher and tougher because they're not producing as much. They want us to go digital. They're teasing us for now, giving us little tastes here and there, but it's harder to find stuff. They don't have them at every store. It's just not in that manner anymore. And
Yeah.
as far as limited game companies, like I said, I didn't go down that rabbit hole. I never really went down limited run. I got 1 game from them, 2, something like that. It's all of them, for the most part, at times are going to be cash grabs, just for the sole fact that they can't continue to make money on a regular basis putting out limited numbers of games without putting out other games to try to sell to people that really nobody wants. Like I heard they're doing the Three Stooges now. Like,
Yeah.
Why?
It's just ridiculous. Like that's just a straight up money grab. Like Three Stooges is not a great game.
Dan,
Yes, it's
did you hear about
iconic.
that, Dan?
What's that?
There's Three Stooges that.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I got the email about it.
And if kind of like I can kind of see, like, example, Shantae, the Game Boy Color version. You want to buy that game physically now, you're looking at like hundreds and maybe thousands of dollars for the cartridge. So on the one hand, they did that for Shantae. I could see it working for Shantae because you could spend a little bit of money for the re-release as opposed to exorbitant fees for the original. But I mean, again, Three Stooges. I don't think I've ever met a single person who actually liked that game. I don't know if many people even played it. And the ones that do, like you made it like, no, it's like mini games to try and save the orphanage, basically. They put it on GTA too, actually.
I just don't see the point in a lot of the limited print gaming, and I think other people have started to see that it's not worth it when you see the company that you're looking at here printing out games like that and other ones that have been kind of questionable. If it's hard to get the rights to a lot of them, I do understand that, and music and all sorts of other crap that we're not all privy to that makes getting them able to have the game to print and give us a new copy. I mean, I get it, but to just come out of the woodwork and start throwing games like the Three Stooges, because you're right, it's not a great game. It's iconic. It's fun for about 3 playthroughs, and then you're getting more annoyed when you get stuck on one of the games that you're absolutely terrible at, which there's 2 or 3 that no matter what, you suck at it. So I just don't see the point in it. I think that it's going to be stagnant for a while. plus money's tight with people, so
Yeah, that I was going to mention the economy. You might also have,
yeah, it's
yeah.
extremely tight for a lot of people right now.
All right, upcoming games: Mortal Kombat 1, Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake.
Yeah, just to wrap up the current generation, is there's some actually big name titles coming out that generates quite some buzz within the last week or two, I would say. And one of them was the remake of Metal
That
Gear.
little podcast popped up.
What's that? Oh,
That little
yeah,
podcast popped up.
yeah. I think he wanted to do that. He'll be here for the next podcast.
Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay.
Yeah, and then so a couple of games like Mortal Kombat 1 it was announced. And then we were talking a lot about the Discord about the numbering. Why all of a sudden it's going back to Mortal Kombat 1, and then the second game that was announced just this past week or so was them remaking Metal Gear Solid 3 from the ground up as a new game. And anybody have any thoughts on these?
Sorry. Go ahead, Bones.
I'll go real quick and easy here. One, don't care because me and Chris were actually just talking about it. If it's not couch co-op, don't give a shit about Mortal Kombat. And at the very end of the next game you have listed, the word remake is there. And
See how that remake comes up and remastered?
Yeah, this is my point. This is why I don't rush to get any consoles. Everything's remake. There's nothing that's enticing. I'm not going to rush to buy a PS5 or an Xbox when launching for the freaking consoles is remake.
Yeah. Not that it's a bad idea all the time that they're doing remakes.
No, but they killed it.
But they're oversaturating the market with them, really.
Dude, my collection has massive amounts of remake in it. Like, it's crazy.
Hey, you good, Bones?
Go ahead. Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good.
All right. So I think part of Mortal Kombat 1, if I'm guessing, it's a quote unquote soft reboot, because spoiler,
that's what they're saying.
Liu Kang made a new world, and now Katana's alive again, and some people are alive again that were dead before. And I mean, let's be real. The biggest draw Mortal Kombat even has is the gore, the blood and guts. Cut open their chests, all their organs spill out and explode everywhere. But I will admit, it kind of caught my attention. I haven't made a gung-ho decision to pre-order it, and if I do, it might just be because that game comes out on my birthday. So, unless it gets delayed, in which case, screw that. But long story short, I will think about it. I'll wait for more previews to release and show us more, and then I'll decide if I want to pre-order it or not. Also, apparently, Jean-Claude Van Damme is the model for Johnny Cage now, like how Terry Crews was the model for Jax in the last game. And I mean, cool, but I mean, Jean-Claude Van Damme did some cool stuff. I can't take that away from him. But I don't know if I would put him as Johnny Cage. I honestly, I would sooner put the cartoon Disney Hercules as Johnny Cage before him. Honestly, like I said, he did some cool stuff. Got nothing but respect for him. I just don't think he's Johnny Cage. He's not Johnny Cage to me. But also, what?
He must be pretty old by now.
Yeah, I think if he kicks to her, he's gonna break his hip. Also, as Metal Gear Solid 3, I don't like stealth, so that's a no from me.
I don't really have anything to say on that.
One of them.
All right. Well,
Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, and we don't have to go through each of these because they're mostly my random thoughts. Just to me, it seems like Tears of the Kingdom really was a big newsmaker. I mean, everybody that I knew about was talking about this. Whether I don't know if anybody has actually played the game or owns it or has picked it up. I'm curious if you've played it, what do you think of it? Also, have you played Breath of the Wild? But for one of the things is that Breath of the Wild was a launch title back in 2017, and this is like 6 years later. And given all the news and buzz for this game, that shows you the magic that Nintendo tends to have. Where they could, stretch the life out of their consoles, over 6 years and still have a fan base that's like dying for this game or really into this game. Is 6 years too long of a window? Do you think they should have had a Zelda sooner, or this is perfect for them? And then we went back to, we were talking about making good games, and even though the console is not the most technologically advanced console out there, so that's the interest or hype about Zelda shows it's more about quality over quantity thing. People care about how good of a game is, not really how the technology. So I'll be curious to any of these thoughts.
So, I've never really been big into Zelda myself. I've only just kind of started growing more fondness for Zelda because earlier this year I played through Hyrule Warriors Definitive. That was actually really good. I've kind of picked at Age of Calamity, haven't gotten very far into it yet. And then I've been making waves in Link's Awakening remake. So I'm kind of warming up to Zelda, but I am not quite ready for the bigger games. Like, if you guys remember, Breath of the Wild originally came out for Wii U. So there's that, and also I remember this. Something brilliant here. The thing that I kind of stands out to me the most about Tears of the Kingdom isn't even the game itself. I saw a meme recreating a scene from an old cartoon. I bet none of you remember, Dave the Barbarian, and that was more appealing to me than Tears of the Kingdom.
The 6-year gap that it took them, I don't think is a really big deal. Like quality over quantity, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So that game is probably like, I haven't literally seen Tears of the Kingdom gameplay or anything yet. I don't even know what it looks like. But I'm assuming if it's anything like Breath of the Wild, I'm sure they outdid themselves. So that 6-year gap was the development of that game.
From what I heard, and I could be wrong, I think it's like a blend of it's mostly Breath of the Wild with a taste of Skyward Sword. That's just what I've heard, because I heard this game is more like there's like stuff in the sky you can look at. Skyward Sword. But again, that's just a guess. I can't confirm or deny it either way.
Yeah, that was definitely highly anticipated. There was, I actually went to I hadn't been to a midnight launch, and there was a local shop that was doing a midnight launch. I was like, you know what? I don't know how many more times there's actually going to be any physical midnight launches for stuff. And I was like, so I'll go and I checked it out. It was cool.
You might have went to your last one, OS.
Yeah, first and last, the same one.
Right.
The last one I ever did was the Spyro remake. I don't know why. I wasn't even huge into Spyro as a kid.
Yeah, I didn't pick up Tears of the Kingdom. I was like, I even did a short on YouTube. I was like, I don't really understand all the hype for it. I have Breath of the Wild. I tested the cartridge and put it away. But and the span of years, I don't think it matters. If you're putting out a quality game,
right?
I mean,
yeah.
Metroid Prime 4.
People are more than willing to wait for it.
Yeah, I am like all about getting Metroid Prime 4.
Especially, we're back to that. Here's a big name again, Zelda.
Yep.
Yeah, kind of a side tangent here. Splatoon. If they are gonna make another Splatoon game, I don't want Splatoon 4. I want Splatoon 0. Go back before Splatoon 1. Show us Captain Cuttlefish and like his adventures. Like show us the history of the Turf Wars and make it more of a run and gun with Turf War sections. I'm sorry.
Hey, it's all good. It's related.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the midnight launch, and that's I thought of that too. This is the first game in a long time that I've saw so much, like my stores around me were say, hey, we're gonna have midnight launch of Zelda, and I don't remember any other games recently they've done that for. So that's why I was just like, wow, this game is really. A lot of people are really wanting this game,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, it went from like 0 to 60. Like I hadn't heard anything about it, and then the week or two up to launch, it was like everywhere. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Yeah, for a while there, it just died off. You didn't hear anything. It was just like, all right, we know it's coming, but, it's not here. Then when it was coming, it got close. You heard about it from everybody. I didn't pick it up yet. I will eventually, because I like Zelda. I enjoy it. But that being said, I don't know when I'll ever finish any of them, because by the time I get 30, 40 hours into them, I'm kind of spent.
Yeah, I heard that to play this game all the way through, it's like 70 hours.
Well, and like I said, I don't have this one, but the Breath of the Wild, unfortunately, the weapons and stuff breaking, that you constantly had to go get a new one, make sure you were carrying more, your swords were always breaking.
I don't know if
That
this.
annoyed.
I don't know that if they changed that or not. I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
know. Like that turned me off on
Right.
that one. So I did not rush back to playing it because eventually it just got to a point where it's like this is frustrating.
Too much grinding.
Yeah, and let me tell you, the older I get, I'm not as much into grinding as I used to be.
Anything else on Zelda?
I can't. I don't have anything left.
All right. Number 3, movie roundup.
Yeah. Again, this one we can probably just if you, whether or not you've seen the movie or not. But yeah, but similarly, I mean, Super Mario Brothers the movie is really a phenomenon. It's really shattered expectations. It's really there's a lot of discussion about like, wow, Disney, this is how you should be doing movies these days. There's a lot of talk about how Disney shows or Disney movies aren't doing as well as people think they are. That includes Marvel franchises and whatever. Whereas Nintendo comes out with a franchise and just does it old school and just this is what we're not trying to do anything fancy here. And yeah, and it's really resonated with the people, and this movie is becoming, I think it's like it's climbing the charts as one of the biggest movies of all time. It's overtaking huge Disney movies of the past, like Frozen and all these things. So I'm just curious if who's seen it. I have not seen it yet, but why do you think the movie is doing so well?
I have seen the movie. Really good movie. It's like, okay, so it makes a ton, like it's like the Sonic movies. Makes a ton of reference to the games. Like in Sonic 2, for example, cafe called the Mean Mean, for example. There's also reference to Crush 40 in there. He's done a lot of Sonic music. Okay, maybe you've never played a Mario game in your life, so you're not going to catch the reference. Like Bowser's Piano says Ludwig von Koopa on it. So maybe you're unfamiliar with Mario. Well, the movie will introduce you to Mario, introduce you to Luigi and Bowser, and it just it kind of does what it needs to. It dips from the games where it needs to, but then fills the blanks where it can. Like in Mario in Brooklyn, we now can say, okay, we have a tie to that old movie, Mario's in Brooklyn again, and it also shows, okay, Mario doesn't like mushrooms, but oops, now he learns to like mushrooms, and it's funny. It's like like I said, even if you've never played a Mario game in your life, okay, the movie introduced you to him, and you could still have fun because it's still really funny. It's still a lot of action. There's still a lot of emotional, heartfelt moments, but also, quick word of advice: stay for the entire credits because there are 2 post-credit scenes. So, but I just think that it does a good job. Like the fans will catch all these cool references, like again, Ludwig van Koopa and all that. And I'm sure there's a bunch that I missed, but again, you can still follow the story even if this is your first Mario thing, literally ever. Also, I didn't get the question mark popcorn thing, and I was mad about that.
Anyone else see
Yeah,
the
I
movie?
saw it, and I mean, I think the big thing is, and we kind of alluded to it with games: quality over quantity. It's a quality movie. I thought it was decent. My wife and daughter loved it. There was tons of references I caught, and I thought they were really nice nods, not over the top, just really nice little things sprinkled around throughout the entire movie. My biggest problem was Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. I was just like, dude, that just killed it. Seth Rogen is always the same character. Doesn't matter what he's doing, and it's just like I don't care for the guy anymore. But it's a good movie. It's entertaining. It's just like quality over quantity. It's just a focus.
I haven't seen the movie yet, so I can't really give you an opinion on that. But I can give you an opinion on the Sonic movie, whether it should be animated or keep it live.
Yeah, so a lot of people are saying that this is what Sonic the Hedgehog should have done. Forget Jim Carrey and all that.
Nah. They should. Sonic was good. I thought it was both of those movies were.
They were really good movies. I'm excited
movies.
for Sonic 3.
I don't think they should go back animated with him. He's live. Leave it alive.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind Mario coming out with another live movie. Since they did so well with the animated one, why not try their act at a live movie again?
Just don't do what they did with the first live action Mario movie.
Yeah, I mean, some people like that movie. It wasn't as bad as most people say it was, in my opinion, but
yeah, I think for me it's a good movie if you can.
You gotta separate the game from the movie.
Yeah, if it's not a Mario movie, the protagonist Mario and Luigi, but they're not the Mario brothers.
Right.
Then the movie is actually pretty decent.
Right. But you know, maybe Nintendo actually tries their hand at making a live movie because like that, I'm pretty sure it wasn't released by Nintendo.
It was Illumination, same
Right.
guys that did Despicable Me.
Right.
I have a friend who refuses to watch literally anything from Illumination because of Minions. I don't think they're that bad. Like they're not the best thing since sliced bread, but I don't understand why everyone so hates them so much. Like they're not that annoying. They're charming, but different strokes, different folks.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought the Minions were funny, but
Yeah, it was pretty
because
good.
Sonic has cartoons,
Right.
CG cartoons coming out. That Netflix just released one,
Yeah, they did.
and it was interesting.
I
So it's
haven't
like,
checked it out
do
yet.
you need a TV show and a movie out at the same time? But you know, the live action movies have done well, so keep doing that and keep doing cartoons on streaming services. It works.
Actually, kind of side tangent here. You gotta give respect to the movie makers because the first release the original movie Sonic, like how he looked nothing like the games. And
Oh yeah.
Oh,
people
that
were
was
making
horrible.
Fun of it, bashing it up.
Yeah,
right
it
and
was pretty
center.
bad.
And then they changed it to more look more like the games, and then people finally gave it a chance.
Right.
I don't think that design was necessarily bad,
Oh no, it was
but
pretty
I
bad.
can see why
It was
people
pretty
didn't
bad.
like it. Well, I mean, then again, I'm the bargain hobo. What does my opinion count for?
I mean, I would really like to see the original movie with the original Sonic, just to see how it would have looked with that guy. But it's
Hey,
awesome.
it's
I don't know. It was pretty bad.
It was bad.
It was
There's a reason
horrible.
why he's nicknamed Ugly Sonic.
Right.
Yeah, I give the movie makers credit for listening to the fan response and acting really quickly. They made a really nice recovery, and
They realized how much money they were going to lose.
I thought that was it. I thought it was going to tank because of that, and it wouldn't be able to recover from that, but it did. So I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah.
And I mean, it cost them a lot of money to do it too.
And it had to delay the movie too, and then
Yep.
it came out right before the world went to shit.
And I have to give props to Jim Carrey. He did an excellent job.
He was fun as Robotnik. Yeah.
Mhm.
I hope he comes back for part 3. I heard he's retiring, but he said that before, so.
That probably just means he wants more money.
Yeah, that's it. Pay me this much more, and I'll come and do your movie.
Yeah.
And the last question is, where does Nintendo go next from here? You know, some people are saying that, hey, surprise, surprise, it's not going to actually be the next thing they're doing is not going to be a sequel right away. They're actually going to think about doing Metroid next. A lot of people are like, no, we think Zelda based on the hype of the new game, but they're like, that's perfect for Zelda, to have a Zelda movie. The other thing you guys mentioned, live action. Brie Larson, who is Captain Marvel, the Marvel universe, she has championed. She wants to play Samus in a live action Metroid movie.
You know, I wouldn't mind seeing Metroid live, or Zelda for that matter. But I think it's too soon for Zelda,
Yeah.
considering the game just came out. Let the game get the buzz right now. And
Yeah,
Nintendo's smart. They're not going to be stupid and come out with a Zelda movie right away.
I agree. Let's let that ride out the hype train. Then you can think about making a movie, and also do what you did with the Mario thing and the Sonic. Combine elements from different games. Like maybe have Link start as like a farmer, like he did in Twilight Princess.
I mean, they can always incorporate. You know how sometimes they release a movie, and then they'll release the before that movie came out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like the prequel.
Yeah, the
like what was
prequel
happening
comes
before
out
the
after the movie. Like, I don't understand why people do that, but hey, whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You would think the movies would come out in order.
Yeah, but also like I was saying with Splatoon, if you're going to make another Splatoon game, don't make Splatoon 4. Make Splatoon 0. But yeah, I think I made my point there already.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
make Luigi's Mansion.
I
Yeah, that
would
would
pay
be a
to
good
see
one.
that.
That would be.
But
a good
also make it like a horror comedy movie.
one. I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bones, you were gonna say something?
Don't really have much insight on this. I couldn't tell you the last movie I actually saw like that.
Hey, it's all
I
good.
mean,
Bones.
and I'm not saying I don't watch movies. I watched The Running Man recently, but like that's kind of telling you what movies I'm watching.
Survey says
I'm sorry, I'm telling you, I don't watch most new movies. I don't have streaming services. I bet you the last movie I watched that was like current that came out that was like we got to watch it was Mortal Kombat with you guys when we had it on Discord that day.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty good. Mortal
Other
Kombat.
than that, like I want to stab people after being in a movie theater for a half hour because it's very uncomfortable for me. So I don't want to sit in those seats.
We'll
I'm
have
like,
to-
get in there.
We'll have to do another movie night for Bones, Dan.
Yeah, we can do Super Mario.
Yeah, do the Mario movie.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen it yet either, so maybe we'll all watch that.
Yeah, I haven't either. Yeah, so if you guys want to do it.
I actually, it's one of the few movies I actually want to own because I don't normally watch a lot of movies, but that's like a must own. I want it physical.
Yeah, Dan's
It
got
might
his
come out right
physical
on my
already.
birthday, we'll see.
Yeah, mine came today. It's a couple days early. But
Yeah, cool. I have to go look into the store and look for it.
yeah.
All right, anything else on the current topic?
No, I got nothing.
All right, next segment podcast pickup, Dan.
Yeah, real quick. I mean, this came from a recent podcast, The Ports. This is Bargain Bin, your topic, actually. And we talked about, there's actually 3 games. That was go back and listen to that podcast. There's a lot of cool games being discussed, a lot of potential podcast pickups. And I picked up 3 based on that podcast. All not very expensive. The Hobbit on Game Boy was mentioned. Indiana Jones on the PSP, Bones, you mentioned that, and then Thor for the DS, all under $20. So that's a good. That was good. So yeah, I appreciate. I especially appreciate when we talk about games and people mention games that are good and they're also not bank breakers. They're pretty cheap. So Bargain Bin, yeah. So you're good job on getting a lot of good games for the value there.
Yeah, happy to help.
And Bones, you had a couple of pickups too. You actually had some during the podcast. Did they come in yet?
Yeah, they came in.
Oh, Monster Madness! Yay!
You know what it was.
Like, for the month. You already said it. What are you doing? I got both of them in the mail. I ordered both of them that night. The one on PlayStation 3 and then one on Xbox. They're 2 different. One's Grave something, and I forget
Great
what the other one
Victorious
is.
Battle for Suburbia.
So, you the man, Bargain Bin. You the man.
Now, I expect you to sap your life away playing them the rest of your life.
No, well, the thing is, I read the backs of them, and they do sound like really good games.
They both do things really well. Like, as I said in the Ports podcast, they both accomplish different things, but if I was only going to play one the rest of my life, it would be the PS3 version, but I really need to stop bringing up that game. Actually, no, I don't. It's great.
They don't call you bargain bin for nothing.
Like, I enjoy games that I can just throw in and wet my whistle and feel like I had fun for, say, an hour, 2 hours, and then I don't worry about going back to it. That game looks like one that I could just get away with doing, driving around in the vehicles and stuff.
Just be careful, Xbox 360 version. They control terribly there, and there's a chase section you have to do with the jump at the end.
Oh, God.
But the PS3 version cut that part out, thankfully. That's one of the reasons it's better.
Yeah, I sent Chris a picture. Maybe it'll be in one of these podcast pickups. It'll get a company Dan's.
Okay.
Yeah, next time just send it to Dan, and then he could put it in here. All right, game of the month, Dan.
Keeping with the current topics, I just played Street Fighter 6 today for the first time.
Bargain bin.
Oh man, it's kind of a hard one actually because it's just so many. I haven't been playing that many games lately, but I'm just gonna say Black Site Area 51 because that's what I've been playing the most lately.
What were you saying, Dan?
That was it. But what system is that for? Black Site Area 51.
Xbox 360, PS3, and I think it was on Steam, but it got delisted.
Okay.
OWASP.
I'm gonna go with Aerial Assault. I'm gonna pick the Master System or the Game Gear version. Side-scrolling shooter. Both of them they're not the exact same game on both systems, but fun little shooters. And I just beat them, so.
Nice.
And Bones.
I'm going to go outside of the box here, and I'm going to say a movie, since we were talking about movies at the end. I'm going to say Land of the Lost with Will
Nice.
Ferrell.
Ah.
That's cool. That's a good idea. We should do more movies, I think.
Movie of the month, yeah.
Yeah.
Just
I wouldn't
add
be able
another
to
segment in.
contribute Yeah.
Well, I just picked it up, believe it or not.
I don't think I've even heard of it actually.
Yeah, Will Ferrell did the movie. He is who the hell else is in it? It's the guy's name McBride. I forget what the other guy's name is.
Danny McBride, right?
Yeah, I think he's in it, and I don't know if the girl's famous or not, but yeah, I found the movie to be hilarious.
Okay. Oh, I remember what you're talking about now. That movie, like with the Slee Stacks.
Yeah, yeah.
You know that one. I did see that. It was pretty good. Grumpy the T-Rex.
Yep, Grumpy.
All right. On that note, thank you for joining in. Please like, comment, and subscribe. As always, don't blow, just sleep. Later.
Thanks, everybody, and good night. Drive safely and play Monster Madness. Okay, I've run that joke into the ground.
See ya.
Thank you.
Gone, get out of here.
Good night, everybody. The old fart.
All right. Sound
I
check.
got shotgun with rock salt.
Bones.
Yo.
Dan.
Here I am.
Oaz.
Walking down the street.
Bargain bin.
And then I got mugged.
By everyone he met.
All right, let me check this.